Are you 40, 50, or even 60 years old and you're thinking of maybe, I want to try YouTube? I'm likely not going to be the first person on YouTube that you see talk about starting YouTube at 40, but I can pretty much assure you I'll likely be the first Asian creator that's going to tell you that it is possible. Hi folks, welcome to the channel. This is going to be my first video posting for this particular channel. I contemplated a long time whether to, start something like that, but I realized that, I have a lot of things to kind of share with you guys. And just so for context, I'm actually 45 this year. And while it is not my first gig doing videos per se, it is kind of the first time I'm going full on and full in doing video. I'm actually proof that this getting in at 40 actually does work. And so today I want to kind of discuss this with you guys. So a lot of you might be wondering, why take the risk? Why do video at 40 or 50 or 60? So my question back to you is, why not? What's actually stopping you from doing it? I'll get the ball rolling by sharing why I'm actually doing it. So I actually have another channel that talks about EV ownership. It's just so happened that I recently bought a new car and I want to kind of share with everybody some of the initial findings and interesting things I figured out about the car. I'm by no means an expert in car, neither am I expert in anything, but I'm coming from an angle where I own the car and this is my thoughts and processes and my experience with the car. So likewise, why should you be starting it? Do you have a hobby that you want to share your passion in? Or do you want to just document your life? It doesn't matter which spectrum you are at, but nonetheless, there is obviously something interesting that you want to share with the world. Again, like I said, you don't actually need to be an expert. Having said that, I hope you're an expert in your life because you are the only one that can be an expert in your own life and nobody else. But you might think, hey, you know what, my life is so boring, who wants to know? But here's the thing, it's because you and I live our lives every day, hence it's boring to us. But to somebody else, it may not always be boring. The other motivation that I have strongly for starting now is because it's for my kids and my future generation. When I was just having this conversation with my kids the other day, and we're talking about how, as I was growing up, maybe like you guys as well, we didn't have a whole lot. So in primary school, secondary school, and even early parts of post-education, we didn't have a lot of memories documented in photos or videos. Developing photos was expensive, and not only that, you need to kind of have a camera. And for most part of us, actually, we don't actually have the money to own a camera. So as fast forward to today, cameras are everywhere in our mobile phones, cheap gear everywhere. So I think it's perfect time to kind of start documenting some of our lives. Before long, as you know, time flies by and we have lost a whole lot of memories. And if you ask me, just for that reason alone, I would document and put up stuff on YouTube just for my own memory's sake. Even if I never made $1 out of it, or even if it never ever gets a view. But at least I know my memories are there and I can always come back to it at some point. So with that, let me answer some of the more common questions people at our age might have when it comes to starting a YouTube channel. For one, some people think that YouTube is for the young generation, not for us oldies. But if you do a search on Google today, or YouTube for that matter, you will realize something very interesting. There is a whole new wave of creators and YouTubers that are much older in age. And I would say for me, being at 45, or even yourself if you are, just below 45, we are actually the younger end of the spectrum. I've seen people come on YouTube in their 70s and 80s now because they, like what I just mentioned earlier, want to start document what's left of their life, what their interesting journeys, their hobbies and their passions. So it is never too late. And I touched about this briefly earlier about how you think our life is boring. I myself included, not too long ago, I thought my life was boring. And then I started putting out stuff out there and I realized that, hey, you know what? Again, like I mentioned, what to me was boring, to somebody else was something new. And people wanted to kind of, see how you lived your life and how somebody else lived their life. Our life is more interesting than you really give it credit for. Then we give ourselves the excuse, it's like, oh, you know what, I don't have all this fancy gear, I don't have a nice camera, I don't have a nice mic, etc., etc. But hey, you know what, we have the most important equipment in our pockets today, and that's our mobile phone. Our mobile phone today is capable of doing videos way beyond our expectations. I mean, we can only dream back then, 10 years ago, to have a device as capable as our mobile phones. So, no expensive equipment, set your mobile phone down, and you're ready to go. Some other questions that I've been getting is also like, oh, you know what, I'm not very computer savvy, I don't actually know how to use an editing software, etc., etc. But again, that is a non-excuse these days. There are so many editing suites today, just on your phone itself. on an iPad or even on the computer that is unlike the days of the past. I started years ago as a student doing Final Cut Pro. And I mean, I'll not, sugarcoat it, right? It was very, very complex as a tool. But nowadays, we have tools like CapCut and even iMovie, which is super easy to create videos on. You don't actually need a lot of, skill set to do it. And the learning curve is not very steep. It's very shallow. So anybody can pick it up. And in this channel and this journey, I hope to kind of show you some of those easy tutorials to get you going. But the biggest one of them all that I always get as a question is that, hey Charles, there's millions and millions of videos out there, millions of creators, and what more, somebody from Singapore in the tiny red dot island, is there anybody that wants to listen to what we have to say? Again, back to my earlier question, it doesn't really matter if anybody's going to watch your video. Always think about it for a start. You're doing it for yourself, you're documenting. But I have good news for you as well. So in 2025, YouTube has also changed the algorithm. In the past, it used to favor people with large followings. So let's, for example, a celebrity with a lot of followers or a very big YouTuber that has a lot of followers. Hence, their videos always surface to the fore. But now, it's changed in such a way that even small creators get a chance. So YouTube is trying to present to people and the viewers what they want to watch based on their viewing history. So for example, there may be somebody who's interested in everybody else's daily lives, people who do vlogs, and naturally, everybody gets a chance to kind of surface in their feed. If you don't believe me, just go to your YouTube. Occasionally, you will find creators from like maybe 10 subscribers to 15 subscribers suddenly showing up in your feed just because it's similar to content that you've been watching. So I really reckon that in this modern age, there is an opportunity for all of us to actually have a chance to do better at YouTube. So I'm not just going to just start talking and tell you all this nice stuff without giving you proof points as well. I started in YouTube maybe during the COVID period, like a lot of people, and it is not by choice, right? So I was at work and obviously there's no more travel because of COVID, everything else in between. And my boss kind of just went and told me, hey, you know what? We need a new way to reach out to customers. We need a new way to educate customers. And YouTube was it. I was given the free rein to kind of, purchase some equipment and also learn to make videos as we go along on how to educate and communicate our message to our customers. But as you know, shortly after that, when everything's back to normalcy, travel resumed, everything resumed, everybody just kind of fled YouTube for, the work content. So naturally, I wasn't very active as well. But every now and then I'll put out a video, maybe 2 months, 6 months, sometimes 8 months once. And guess what? Even those infrequent and inconsistent uploads, I was still getting 2,000 plus subscribers and a couple of hundred views every week. Frankly, I found it very bizarre as well because for the longest time, people are talking about, consistency. People are talking about, the tenacity of upload and all these highly production value type videos. But mine was just normal tutorials for technical stuff, which is not even interesting in most cases. So fast forward that to recently, I took a short break from work and I decided, well, I've got nothing to lose. I decided that maybe it was a good time for me to just document my experiences, like I mentioned earlier, about the car. Nothing really interesting. I'm not the first one to be talking about cars, but I wanted to make something different from my approach this time, which was I wanted to challenge myself to upload 2 or maybe 3 videos every week and see where that lands me. And guess what? I was very, very surprised with the turnout. After about, I think, 3 months into that whole 2 videos a week type upload, I got monetized. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. And I thought to myself, why isn't more people doing this, even as a side hustle, as a side gig? So with that little example that I've gone through it myself, I realized that it is definitely possible for anybody to do this. As long as there is a little bit of effort, a little bit of persistence, I think I also want to help somebody else achieve this because that's really, really fulfilling from my perspective as well. Again, it doesn't really matter what your motive is. It could be just for, like I said, hobby, passion, or even if you want to do this as a retirement side hustle, just do it. You have nothing to lose. The good thing about YouTube is that the barrier of entry is extremely low. And we already discussed this. Most of us have already the equipment to do so, so let's just get filming. So if you're still with me to this point of the video, let me challenge you to the next call to action. And it's going to not be the typical advice that other creators will give you. Take some time to think about what you want to share to the world. Is it a topic of interest, passion, etc., or even a vlog of your daily life? And then pen out your thoughts. Once you have done that, take your handy, trusty phone and start recording. But the next step is interesting. After you're done recording, don't post it. Sit on it for a while and digest it a little bit. Because the reason why I ask you not to post it yet is because when you have an intention to take the video without the fear of posting and the pressure of posting, you react differently to the camera as well. Because you and I know that that video may never see the light of day. Once you kind of sit down and digest it a little bit and get over your fear of the camera, maybe then you can choose to post that up to the World Wide Web. Or if not, you can obviously sit down, take another shot at the camera and do the same thing and see if you can do it better. Once you're ready, just post it. And trust me, everyone's first video is never going to be a great one. And I can tell you that from the go. If you are one of those super talented folks that have a knack for it, yeah, you know, your first video will blow it away. But I can almost tell you 99.99% of us have the crappiest and the worst first video ever. I would love to have seen my first video or have it kept somewhere. Unfortunately, I can't seem to find it anymore. But if I can have my first video on YouTube, I can then track the progress of how far I've come. Once you posted it and you feel you're ready for some feedback to kind of guide you along the way, feel free to drop it in the comments and I'm more than happy to kind of review it and give you some feedback. Alternatively, if you're not ready to kind of share it to the world, you can also mail me and get my email address from the description and mail me directly. Either way, I'm here to help you and also guide you along the way. And hopefully the subsequent videos that I do will kind of build on that capability for you guys to do more videos. So what do you guys think? If you think that you are going to embark on this journey and I can be there together with you and guide you along the way, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I hope in the coming videos, I'll share with you a little bit more about the production journey, how we can get over all these kind of fears and also tooling to make better videos moving forward. And with that, thanks for tuning in and I can't wait to see what you create.